All right, so this is for those of you who have a LinkedIn account or been thinking about joining LinkedIn or been on LinkedIn for years, and you're wondering why it isn't working for you. Or maybe you are hearing some advice about using LinkedIn and you're wondering, is it going to really work to grow your business? So I have been on LinkedIn for, gosh, more than 15 years. And in that time, the platform has changed a lot. And I'm going to share with you some of the advice that's common out there today, um, what I think about that advice. And also, I should let you know that I'm going to be teaching an online course that goes into detail on all of the stuff, my recommended strategies, etc. So if you're really interested in making your LinkedIn use more effective, you might want to join us for the online course. But anyway, let me just kind of share with you why LinkedIn doesn't work for most of its members. Okay, so generally speak, well, first of all, you should know that LinkedIn is the largest professional networking platform on the planet. So it's 700 million members and counting, and it keeps growing every year. And the platform has the etiquette of professional networking. So it's not like Facebook where you go, you post pictures of, personal life and things like that. It's or Instagram or whatever, but it's like you go there and you know that the whole etiquette is to kind of give each other career opportunities or help each other with professional development. So it's very focused in that way. 700 million accounts. So in other words, it's a place that's sanctioned for professional development, professional networking. So if it's not working, such a large platform, just about everybody you know who's had a professional life in the last 20 years has a LinkedIn account. So if that's the case, then why isn't it working for you? There's just about everybody's there. Two reasons. One is that you're not really using LinkedIn. And two, you're using it, but you're not using it effectively because you're following some mainstream advice. So let me kind of go through each one of these. One, you're not really using it. What do I mean? Is that you may have set up your profile years ago, maybe even you updated recently, but you've had a profile on LinkedIn for a while now, and nobody's contacting you to hire you for your services or to buy your products because that's not how LinkedIn works. This is the biggest misconception that everybody has about LinkedIn. Oh, I just go and optimize my profile and then, you know, people will find me through the LinkedIn search engine or through Google and they'll hire me. Guess what? I've been on LinkedIn, like I said, for 15 years. I've had an optimized profile for 15 years, and random cold people don't contact me to hire me for my services. It's always the warm contacts who contact me to hire me or to buy my products or whatever. So this is the number one misconception that I can hopefully clear up for you now. Your LinkedIn profile should not be looked at as a sales page for strangers. Now, again, let me make the case to you. When was the last time you went on LinkedIn and used the search function to find some random person to hire for their services or their products? Almost never. I mean, I haven't. Okay. And probably everybody who has a LinkedIn account who's watching this, most of you haven't either used a search engine to find a random person to hire for something, even if you need that service right now. No. Okay. So, so why are you thinking other people do that to you? No, it doesn't happen that way. However, if you, so that's the main thing is I want you to look at your LinkedIn profile, not as a sales pitch to strangers, but as a reminder to the people who already like, know, and trust you, a reminder about what you do and why you're credible to do it. Because then opportunities naturally come up for you. Do you see what I mean? So this, like, once you have this mindset, oh, it's LinkedIn is not to have random new people discover me, but it's to have people who already know, like, and trust me, remember what I do on a consistent basis. So I'm top of mind. And so that they'll, when they need my service and when they know someone who needs me, they'll introduce them to me. Make sense? Okay. So that's number one reason you're not really using LinkedIn. You're just doing it as an optimized profile to try to, as a sales page. It doesn't work that way. Okay. So number one, what now you say, okay, great. I want to use LinkedIn effectively. Okay, so that's the second reason is people aren't using it effectively. So let me kind of go through the typical mainstream LinkedIn advice and share with you what my thoughts are on each one. So I have some notes here I'm going to be referring to here. Okay, so first typical advice on LinkedIn is to just connect with a lot of people. In fact, LinkedIn itself encourages you to connect with like everyone in your address book, right? Because when you log on to LinkedIn, we sign up for LinkedIn, whenever you connect with somebody, it'll say, hey, do you want to connect with all these other people right, that you might know, you kind of know, like maybe acquaintances you met one time, or someone that sounds kind of familiar, right? Or someone who looks kind of, oh, that might be a useful person to know, right? Like LinkedIn itself tries to get you to over 500 connections, which is why when you look at someone's LinkedIn profile, you look at how many connections they have, it'll tell you, oh, they have 200 connections, 400 connections, or 500 plus connections. They're like, yeah, just try to get to as many connections as you can. So they don't stop you, right? So this fantasy of I'm just going to connect with as many people as I can because it might be useful someday isn't working for most of us. In fact, I have been on LinkedIn, like I said, for 15 years, and I've connected in the early days when I thought that was what we were supposed to do, collect a bunch of contacts. I got to 5,000 first degree connections. Let me say it again. 5,000 people either manually says, yes, connect to George Cow, and I said yes, or I manually messaged, clicked on connect and they said yes. 5,000 people. So you would think, wow, 5,000, that's like, enough people. If they were potential clients or referral sources, I'd have more business from LinkedIn than I know what to do with. Well, guess what? Didn't happen that way. Nobody who didn't already know, like, and trust me, reached out to me from LinkedIn and says, hey, you know what? Can I hire you? It's always people who already knew me. So the first degree connection, weak ties theory. The weak ties theory is like, a lot of opportunities in professional life come from your weak ties, people you barely know. And that idea of weak ties, I really disagree with now after having tested it for 15 years. Because it's the stronger ties that actually recommend opportunities. Now, weak ties theory, I think, works when it comes to content. People spreading your content and then might then continue following your content. People can follow your LinkedIn profile, but they don't have to connect with you by first degree. And then you feel like you have to somehow comment on their stuff. No. So keep your first degree network tight. So I removed, most of my 5,000 first degree connections recently. Now I have under 200 first degree connections, which means when I log on to LinkedIn, I actually enjoy the experience. Do you have that experience? Or most of us, when we log on to LinkedIn, we're like, posts from who? Who's this person? Oh yeah, maybe you either don't know that person, you like scrolling past posts of people you don't know, or people you don't really, professionally have, are excited to get to know. So now that I've curated my network, I actually enjoy going to LinkedIn and I actually enjoy commenting on things. And that makes a huge difference because now I'm building relationships with people that, of course, opportunities, I'll be more top of mind for them. They'll be more top of mind for me. Make sense? Okay, so that's number one. Don't connect to as many people. Curate your network tightly. Number two, a common LinkedIn advice is post content consistently. Now, you've heard me say post content consistently, everywhere. But when it comes to LinkedIn, there's this fantasy that if I just keep posting on LinkedIn, eventually people will comment on my things and people will want to hire me, etc. Now, of course, I want you to post consistently. But if you have, first of all, a network of people who follow you, who don't really care about you, who don't even know you, you're not going to, they're going to just scroll past your content, just like you scroll past theirs. Or you don't even want to log into LinkedIn because you don't even know these people. So post content, if you have a curated network of first degree connections, and if you comment on people's things because you care, you actually care, the algorithm, if you comment on someone's stuff, right? The LinkedIn algorithm says, oh, we're going to show your content to that person more often as well. If there's mutual care, then your content has the real effect of keeping you top of mind for them. Make sense? So do that. Number three, common LinkedIn advice, contribute to LinkedIn groups. How many times have you heard that? Oh, just, add your, go into your LinkedIn groups and try to comment on posts. Or actually, most people go into LinkedIn groups and just share their content. Now, when was the last time you went into one of your LinkedIn groups? Number one question. Number two, if you go into LinkedIn groups, what happens? You'll notice that most of the posts in LinkedIn groups have 0 comments, 0 likes, no engagement at all. So LinkedIn groups, yes, you might get some traction if you comment on people's posts there, but for the sake of time management, I would not recommend it. I used to teach LinkedIn groups as a strategy. That was when we were able to create groups and send out emails to all the group members. Those days have long gone. Now I no longer recommend a LinkedIn group strategy. Okay, so number 3, okay, that's right. Number 4 is common advice is a comment on other people's posts. Like I said, that's a good idea if you've curated your network tightly and you're commenting on the posts of people that you actually want to professionally become closer to. So if you do that, then I would say thoughtfully comment on people's posts of the people that you actually have some connection with already, meaning they already know you and they already like you and you already know them and like them, and now you want to build a closer connection. That's the kind of post that you should comment on. Okay, number 5, common LinkedIn advice is to privately message people to try to get them to buy your stuff. And usually it's people you don't know all that well, right? And so I bet when you go into your LinkedIn private inbox, you probably have messages from people who are trying to sell their services to you. Maybe they even started the conversation pretending to be interested in what you do. But then as you keep the conversation going, oh, you realize, oh, they're really just trying to pitch to you. How many of you have that experience? I know many of my clients have told me they've had that experience, and I know I've had that experience. So as long as you don't do the thing that you see most people doing in your LinkedIn inbox trying to pitch to you, and if you privately message one of your contacts the way that you would privately message a friend, in a way that you actually care about them, okay, to say, how are you doing? And of course, as a friend, you would probably say, hey, I saw that you had posted this, or I saw that you just had this happen in your professional life. You start with something that you saw, one of their updates, and then you kind of go and ask how they're doing and see what they're up to, see what you can help with, right? And of course, naturally, if they like you, they're going to do the same. They're going to be curious about what you're up to. These things happen naturally because you've curated your network tightly to be people that actually have a mutual interest in getting to know each other. So I hope this is helpful as an introduction to why LinkedIn isn't working for most of you who are watching this, and how you might want to make it work better. And if you are interested in all the details, step by step, yes, we're going to talk about profile optimization, but we're going to talk about overall LinkedIn strategy, the step-by-steps for those things, and like a ongoing checklist for the most effective things to do. If you're interested in that, join my online course about LinkedIn. I'd be glad to have you there. All right. So I hope this helps. My name is George Kao, Authentic Business Coach, and I love talking about doing business in a way that's really meaningful, authentic, and works to actually grow a business. So always open to your comments and your questions, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for joining me.